physical growth and maturation influence on sport opportunities and performance. There's probably been quite a lot of development in this area in the last 10 to 15 years. Certain countries probably use this as a benefit to improve and talent ID, and we're going to touch on this, and we'll look at this in more detail as we move on to the sessions on talent ID. So young athletes' physical growth, features and maturational status play a big role in the sport performance and the opportunities in sport. So maturational status often predicts who plays in what types of sports, what positions within those sports. So for example, a youth in baseball, players who have participated in the Little League World Series and on elite teams were maturationally advanced in terms of height and weight, skeletal age. So this is from key research by various researchers, as you can see on screen here. So focusing on soccer as an example, maturational differences were also found between different positions, with a larger physical aptitudes and advanced maturation evident among the forwards in a football team, whose performance required physical collisions and tackles. So in a study of 13 to 50-year-olds, in terms of male soccer players, body mass and maturity were predicted of sprinting speed, vertical jump performance, and therefore that talent ID process, if they matured quicker and were stronger, faster, they were then more likely to be put in key positions and developed further. So can you think of any sports where late maturers have an advantage? So I've mentioned it already, an opposite maturation trend is the sport participation was shown in figure skating. Again, this probably could also be applied to gymnastics. As late maturation is used as an advantage for smallness of physique or physical linearity needed for subjectively judgment sports where things are aesthetically pleasing or appealing is important. So, 8% of the pre-elite and elite figure skating participants were found to be on average or late maturers. You probably won't find many early maturers within this group. So maturational status often influences the type of sport young athletes choose, the positions they are assigned to within these sports, and their performance and abilities. These things are going to happen, and that's fine, but as long as all athletes, regardless of their maturational level, are provided with opportunity to develop their individual talents, then obviously it's fine. So as a coach and a developer and someone working in sport, we obviously need to consider, these positions, these types of maturation on where these kids are suited to. So I mentioned that we're going to touch on this topic a little bit more detail as we move on to talent identification, but it's really important to start to mention it as part of this growth and maturation session. The idea is to attempt to guide children into sports for which they are physically suited. Physical growth and maturational characteristics are often assessed as a part of a systematic talent identification program. So talent identification is a process of distinguishing and often selecting the children who demonstrate potential for expertise in a particular sport. So for example, China and Australia have systematic talent identification programs for youth sport, which we will be discussing in future sessions. Children are tested and are selected for training in certain sports based on their physical characteristics, which make them most likely to benefit from intense training in a particular sport. For example, so they may look at their height, their body mass, their arm span, their hand and foot size. They've also been known to actually test muscle fibres to see their slow or fast twitch fibres, and obviously they're suited to different types of sports. So there's obviously some key positives of this, but also there's going to be an element of how growth and maturation impacts, this talent ID program. Because what if someone's a late mature and hasn't hit their kind of key points and they're missed? They could be potentially a really talented athlete. So I mentioned 2 countries that use this process, but it's not widely practiced, and it's often by chance that certain young athletes choose the sport that best fits their physical attributes. Can you think of any examples of professional athletes where physical aptitudes have played a part in their success? So here's one for you. Michael Phelps is a prime example. Gold medal winner, huge arm span, huge, limb length, hand size, foot size, which obviously has a major advantage within that pool environment. So can you think of any other examples where their maturation and their development and their size and physique has had an impact on their sport? So hopefully you should have thought of something for the examples. I'm going to basically expand on this. There are many popular examples of physical attributes possessed by highly successful athletes. So height is often a prerequisite for elite basketball careers, as already mentioned. And physical size is really important for things like soccer, ice hockey, rugby and American football. Shorter stature and smaller body size are related to things like gymnastics, diving and figure skating. So apart from size and characteristics, a muscle fibre type is a predominance for aerobic capacity, an important factor in success in certain sports. So overall, talent identification is becoming much more sophisticated, so that coaches and directors in many sports are prescribed the physical characteristics and body types that are facilitated for skill development within that given sport. So they're looking for the certain kind of type of athlete and player to suit their needs.